Okay, we're back. Hopefully everyone will hit refresh and come back and join us. Nerpunk, thank you. Yeah. Letting yourself be angry before it becomes a massive problem. And there's ways to get the anger out. One of my managing powerful emotions facilitators says they started smashing pumpkins and just, taking a bat to old pumpkins and just smashing them. And she said she found that really helped get out get the anger out. Initially, her boyfriend watched her do it the first time just because he was outside working on the car. And after that, he was like, I'm not going to be there while you do it. Yeah. So, if you still have pumpkins left, Neuropunk, smash them. Why not? Okay. So yeah, let's hope everyone comes back. Not just you. Let's see. I can't. So I'm using Restream today, and I think I'm not going to use Restream again. Problem is, Restream lets me have chat from YouTube on the screen. On the screen here. And yeah, the others thus far do not. I mean, maybe if I actually paid for it and got a higher, I don't know. I just don't know. Ads start in just over 3 minutes. And you tell me everyone's here, but I haven't refreshed you. So let's refresh and double check. See if everyone's back. It looks like Plane is still here. Okay. Ads in 2 minutes. Oh, yes, Plane Power is back because he commented. Haha! Yay! We have everyone back. No pumpkins, just trying to get better at communicating to people when you feel angry. Yeah, it's something my mother and I have been working on for the last 18 months. And I have to say, communication has really helped. Because, she'll say, I started by modeling me explaining my feelings and what exactly that had happened. Not that she had done. Not using yous. Using I statements and not you statements. And making sure I was chill before I had the conversation. But, being a little more assertive and saying, this is what upset me. And she can deal with that. And then when I talk to her, after she's been upset, she's gotten better at saying exactly what it was that upset her. And so I try and deal with that. So things like supper had been a major conflict point, but since she realized that all she had to do was, reframe it in her head and started making soups, no longer was she suddenly in her head worried that the supper would dry out before I got a chance to eat it. And eliminating that source has made our interactions much smoother. Much smoother. Yeah, this way, no resentment building. And she's also learned that if I said, if she comes in and I say, no, we're not talking about this now, she will go downstairs and play music or go sew and do one of her things that calms her down. Plain power. I now admit I am angry and let that manifest. Like last night, I was playing Fallout and couldn't figure out how to access camp. I shut it down, verbally admitted I am mad, and used it to wash dishes, clean the kitchen, vacuum until it ate up all that energy. Exactly. I live alone, so no one tells me to settle down. Great way to get that energy out, plain power. Awesome job. Awesome. Yeah, not letting resentment build. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's not smashing pumpkins, it's doing constructive things to get that energy out. Honestly, I did something similar when I was working at, you guys out west wouldn't recognize the name of the store. I worked at a store called Linen Chest. And yeah, I would have people talking down to me part of the day and, doing like thing. Like, come here now, servant. And I'll be like, I don't work in that department. I'll call you someone. I helped out friends of mine whose parents ran a daycare cleaning organization, and I would go hang out with them and clean daycares. So like lots of sweeping, lots of heavy duty mopping. Oh man, that got all that negative energy out. If you're in a partner, they need to respect your place and never try to minimize or settle down. The number of times I have told my mother that saying the words calm down has the opposite effect. One of these days it'll sink in. I don't think she's used it in a bit, but old habits die hard. Explaining feelings works for me so well. I use it on the grandkid when she acts out. I give her a timeout and sit and talk about that emotion. Yeah. And by timeout, it's time away from that frustration and then talk with that feeling and explore it. Great job, plain power. Great job. And that's going to teach that kid so much more emotional regulation than you yourself had. Chef's kiss. The ad has started, but you guys, I think, I think you guys don't see ads. Calm down never works. So hard. Easy to get to feel that emotion of anger. Yeah. Women are better on the range of emotions than men. Not anger. A lot of us struggle with confrontation and conflict because it's just trained so hard into us not to be angry, not to be, so it takes more to get there. I can get there. I'm a Gemini. You flip me to my twin side, I can get there. And my mother is exceptionally good at getting me there. And believe the patriarchy. Yeah, a lot of it is patriarchal assumptions. Yeah. Absolutely. Bad for everyone. Yep. I did a class on doing gender in CJEP in probably about 1999 is when I did it. And we watched documentaries both on both genders. And we actually started with men and what they had gone through. Because it's not talked about. The way it's drilled into guys not to cry, not to be weak by their own peers. Yeah, not to be a girl. Exactly. It's super, super toxic, neuropunk. And like I said, that doing gender class really helped, get me on a level where, like, this is old hat. All the stuff we're talking about now is old hat to me. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that doing gender class. We talked about it then. You want to come say hello, buddy? Wants to come say hello? Hello. There's my little boy. Good boy. Good looking at the camera. Do you see yourself on the screen? Yeah? Oh yeah, he sees a doggy on the screen. Good boy. Mm-hmm. He's a cutie pie. His face needs to get shaved. He's a cutie pie. Mm-hmm. Only because he's got allergies and his eyes get weepy. So his face needs to be kept pretty shaved. Keep this gunk out of the fur. He's a good boy. Mm-hmm. He's just like, yeah, I could stay here. Look at that, closing his eyes. Mm-hmm. Our closest family members are exceptionally at pushing those buttons, yeah. It was the first thing I learned in a group. Do not push those buttons to antagonize others. Or at least that is my takeaway. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas I learned my mother's buttons, and when she pushes mine accidentally, my initial urge is to push hers. I am learning not to do that. I am learning to do pros and cons of acting out my emotion and pros and cons of not acting out my emotion before I do the emotion. And it works. I just need to practice it more. He loves me, yeah. He's pretty closely bonded to me. He's an accidental puppy mom brought back from the U.S. He's American. We don't hold it against him for breeding purposes. She'd gone down to breed one of her girls to a dog in the States and ended up with bringing this guy home. And he was just a little cutie pup for a bit, and I ended up getting ankle surgery, and he was initially scared of you get little like scooter things now that you put your leg on and then scoot around. It's so much easier than the bretelles. Why am I remembering the French word first? Crutches. Yeah, he was totally scared of the scooter thing at first until I picked him up and held him on the thing and gave him a ride on it, and then suddenly he loved it. And that whole time I was curled up on the couch a lot, so he ended up curling up and bonding both to me and to my Zingyun. And he's a one bitch puppy. He loves his girl, and no other girls, even in heat, will make him turn away from my Zing. Normally breeders don't keep the couple together, so the bonding, you never get to see it, really, in the breeding world. Mm-hmm. And even to this day, they're both fixed. They've both had puppies. He will curl up with Zing, and Zing will curl up with him. Boys are never taught how to properly deal with anger. Yeah, it is really sad. Oh, my stream is live again. Yay, Ninja Cupcake. It is. We've just been waiting for everyone to come back and waiting for the ads to be done before attempting to continue on with some more news. In the meantime, this guy came up to say hello. And he's super comfy right now. He's standing, but mostly lying on me. I've got most of his weight, and he barely weighs anything. He's teeny, teeny, tiny. He's still toy size. I find like the teacup size, they have like bulgy eyes. Their eyeballs are too big for their heads. And even some of these guys, their eyes are a little bulgy. But he's just adorbs. He's just adorbs. All right, buddy? Mm-hmm. You the only one that came back? Yeah. Something about breeding teacup dogs feels unethical to you? Yeah. They're just so small. And, man, toy-sized are just right. They're lap-sized. I don't know why you'd want a dog that's teacup size. You'd want an eternal puppy. The size difference, like these guys are like constantly jumping on my legs because they want to get close to me, right? Because they're so far down. Making dogs even smaller just seems weird. You like standard poodles? You like the massive dogs? Yeah. I'm a cat person first, and then a big dog person, and then a small dog person. My dogs are well behaved, except for Brie and her growling, but that's it. It's almost like she's autistic, and that she didn't have any other puppies around her to learn doggy language, doggy communication skills properly. So it's like an analog of autism that she's got. So we work within that. Training does not work. But these dogs are so smart that some degree of talking does. Like, do you want to go down? She knows what the word down means. You want down? Mm-hmm. I know how to teach language. It was literally my specialty before I got sick. Anyway, my mother-in-law has a full-size poodle. She's a sweetie unless you're a new woman around her. Rescue. Yeah. My dogs, so a lot of our dogs have some anxiety issues, and I work with them on that too. I have a story that I don't want to get into now. It's a long story. But yeah. Anyway, we were talking about a former anti-vaxxer. Lydia thinks as a former anti-vaxxer, she's in a unique position to help worried parents. The only way you can talk to them is if you hear them out first. It kind of opens up that conversation, she said. But if you shut a person down, they're not going to hear anything you have to say. So yeah. And that is that story. That is our cleanse, our mouth cleanse, our what's that? That's that thingy. The mouth, yeah. Between meals in a fancy restaurant, you'd have like a sorbet to like cleanse the palate. That's the word I was looking for. To cleanse the palate after Gaza. Okay. Shall we talk about the budget? Shall we talk about the budget? God's advertising. Pickled ginger is your favorite palate cleanser. It's a good one. I like something like a buttery like a Ritz cracker or a buttery cracker. Just one, because I'm in the wine tasting world. Our palate cleansers are different. I don't know how anti-vax crap is still a thing when there's half-contained tuberculosis outbreak in Edmonton. There's a what? That's not good. Jeez. I hope you're TB negative. Jeez. TB is bad. I just finished reading the book Everything is TB. Everything is Tuberculosis. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. There's a call out to Canada in there, and it's not a good one. Highly recommend. Yeah. I read it pretty quickly. It's very well written. Yeah, John Green's writing is pretty good. "10 cases all in deep quarantine. Okay, good. I am TB negative. I know I've had to take the test. I do not want it in my system. In my system right now, I'd end up with full-blown TB. So yeah, I highly recommend everything is tuberculosis. I should post that on the, I just discovered a whole section of the Discord formerly of the Boots community, now of the Hippo House Commons. I only just discovered a whole section of the thing with like the pets and the book recommendations and all of that. They're doing contact tracing, but who knows how well that's going right now. AB Health claims there's no cause for alarm, but I'm skeptical as AF. Yeah, I'd be skeptical AF too, because tuberculosis is very, it's catching. It's catching. And yeah, I think it's, yeah, it's, I don't know if it's aerosol transmission, but it's definitely in the air. Definitely. Wow, my brain is doing well today. I probably should have slept more than just till 3 p.m. It's common among the homeless population. Yeah, and the problem with the homeless population is, the thing with TB is you only get full-blown symptoms if your system's under stress in some way, or if your immune system's down. Your immune system can't do make these balls around the tuberculosis infection. And so, yeah, if you're not in a good health, you're not eating well, you pick up a tuberculosis infection, you're going to have full-blown tuberculosis. I know to be mindful of it when I worked in retirement facilities. Yeah. Luckily, I never had a TB outbreak in the places I worked. I had to get tested because the job I was going to do would require me to be in vulnerable populations. Oh, awesome. I can get full TB then. My immune system is constantly confused about itself. Yeah. Long COVID. 3 years now. And yeah, by this time, 3 years ago, I was struggling with not getting better. Yeah. It was fun. All right, let's talk about the budget and some of its implications. This one's a doozy, guys. This one's a doozy. I think my whack immune system's thanks to living in Alberta syndrome. Yeah. I'm glad I don't live in Alberta. I visited Alberta. Calgary is beautiful. The West Edmonton Mall is cool. And the Rockies are just awesome. And that is, in the old way of meaning it, it's in that it causes awe. I remember being just like feeling dwarfed by them. It's nature's first attempt at a skyscraper. This one's a bit of a doozy. I'm not sure what my opinion is on it. It's kind of like I need more information. But let's go over this one quickly. Let's try and do it quickly anyway. And hopefully my encoding doesn't get overloaded and my system doesn't crash again. Yeah. So the Port of Montreal expansion had inadequate consultation on endangered fish based on a Bloc MP. When I say I love the Bloc guys, they are on the environmental stuff. They're like the Greens when it comes to environmental stuff. They're awesome. So Ottawa saw an inadequate consultation on the mitigation plans for an endangered fish species threatened by the Port of Montreal expansion. Did you guys know that there is a fish that only lives in a small part of the St. Lawrence River Valley, and one of its major feeding spots is just outside of Montreal? Color me surprised that the federal libs didn't do all their work. So officials from the Montreal Port Authority told MPs on the House of Commons Environmental Committee the consultation process yielded no feedback from concerned environmental groups because the project received a federal special permit. Before the project received a special federal permit to move forward. So get this. The Impact Assessment Agency of Canada did not issue a notification to alert the interested groups about the consultation window, so that environmental groups had no knowledge that there was a consultation window that was going to be, closing. That sounds illegal. Unfortunately, no. Bonin called on the Port Authority to conduct a proper assessment, while Port Authority officials repeatedly maintained they had met their legal obligations. Such a situation would have financial impacts and important delays on the project. We've respected the steps required by law. The expansion at Contrecoeur, about 45 kilometers northeast of Montreal, is expected to expand the port's capacity to an estimated 1.5 million containers annually. It was on the first list of projects referred to by the federal government to the Major Projects Office and announced in September. But the construction area is in the feeding ground of the copper red horse, a freshwater fish found only in Canada and only in a few rivers of the St. Lawrence Plain. It was on the federal species at-risk registry in 2007, and critical habitat for listed endangered species can't be destroyed. The Montreal Port Authority says to help offset the impact of the port expansion, it plans to build a new feeding area for the endangered fish next summer by planting more than 3 hectares of seagrass downriver. The plan received federal approval this fall. Officials from the Impact Assessment Agency told the committee Montreal no alert was sent out when the 30-day consultation period opened, though it said it was published the notice of intent and was posted to the Port Authority on its website. After the committee hearing, Bonin told the Canadian press, the Impact Assessment Agency must ensure the evaluation process is adequate. They should ensure that we don't bypass the obligations, that the quality of the evaluations meet the standard that an endangered species deserves. Bonin said many reputable environmental groups wanted to weigh in on the plan. Nobody got a chance to intervene or were informed, and these are the groups that follow very closely